Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we're going on a wild, highly structured journey straight into the metaphysical. We're going to impartially unpack the spiritual revelations of Emanuel Swedenborg, the brilliant scientist and philosopher whose later visions literally mapped out the afterlife. We'll be looking specifically at a fascinating translation of these concepts from a curated spiritual text. So, if you've ever found yourself wondering about the actual architecture of the spirit realm, well, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get into it.
So think about this. What actually happens to love, relationships, and even gender after we leave our physical bodies behind? Like, do we lose our identity completely, or does it just evolve into something else? This right here is the core esoteric theme of the text we're diving into today. And honestly, the answers provided by these revelations are so incredibly detailed and, quite frankly, completely mind-bending.
So, to make sense of it all, we'll quickly cover gender traits after death, spiritual wavelengths and perception, dominance in the hell realm, empathetic marriage in the 4th through 6th dimensions, merged spirits in higher dimensions, and finally, the modern collapse of soul siblings.
All right, starting off with Section 1, Gender Traits After Death.
Okay, so according to the text, does gender survive the death of the physical body? The answer is a resounding yes, but probably not in the way you might think. See, in the lower and intermediate realms, spirits do often keep a sort of human-like appearance. But as spirits ascend and evolve higher up, they might not even possess a human shape anymore. We're talking formless spheres of light. Yet, and this is the cool part, even if a spirit is just a shapeless sphere, its gender can be instantly felt by others just through the energy or the wavelength it emits.
The source text contrasts these spiritual traits really clearly. When you encounter a male spirit, the overwhelming sensations you'd feel are strength, activeness, and power, just pushing right to the forefront. On the flip side, encountering a female spirit emits this distinct softness, grace, and incredibly deep sensitivity. The text even notes that certain female spirits possess a profound, radiant beauty that goes way beyond anything physical. It's an energetic signature. You just feel it.
Moving on to Section 2, Spiritual Wavelengths and Perception.
Now, here in the physical world, you can bump into literally anyone on the street, right? Doesn't matter what their mindset is. But in the spirit world, the text explains that you only perceive those on your exact energetic frequency. This is called dimensional awareness. The source material actually uses a great metaphor for this. Think of how a ghost is said to pass effortlessly right through a physical wall. If you have mismatched mindsets in the spirit world, it's basically the ultimate form of getting ghosted. You'll literally pass right through one another, completely unnoticed. You are only aware of what you resonate with.
Which brings us to Section 3, Dominance in the Hell Realm.
So, because spirits in the lowest dimensions operate on extremely low frequencies that are totally devoid of empathy, the concept of marriage down there takes on a really dark definition. The text outlines that relationships in hellish realms are not based on affection at all. Instead, they are driven purely by power dynamics and fear. Basically, one spirit typically forces the other into subservience, treating them essentially as property or forced labor. It's a relationship of pure domination, which unfortunately perfectly reflects the exact spiritual wavelength of that environment.
But let's look at Section 4, Empathetic Marriage in the 4th through 6th dimensions.
What's really fascinating here is the complete 180-degree inversion of that dynamic we just talked about. In the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensions, spirits operate on a much higher, far more empathetic wavelength. Up here, spiritual marriages mirror the absolute most idealized earthly relationships. Instead of domination and fear, couples in these dimensions live together based on mutual empathy, encouragement, and the shared desire for spiritual growth. They are actively uplifting one another constantly.
Now things get wild in Section 5, Merged Spirits in Higher Dimensions.
Okay, get this. The text makes a fascinating assertion about the higher dimensions, specifically the 7th dimension and above. Up there, love and unity reach a level that is almost, well, beyond human comprehension. Couples don't just live side by side in harmony. They literally merge together into a single comprehensive spiritual entity. No, really. The text refers to this astonishing phenomenon as the creation of a merged spirit.
And here is how this incredible process builds, step by step. First, there has to be an intense mutual desire where the two souls actually no longer wish to pursue separate individualities. Second, the souls undergo a metaphysical docking process, basically uniting their distinct male and female energies into one perfectly balanced, unified whole. And third, this ultimate union actually acts as a mechanism for ascension. This newly combined, highly evolved soul can then ascend together into the Tathagata, which is the pristine 8th dimension.
Finally, Section 6, the collapse of soul siblings.
You know, historically, the text says a soul is not meant to be entirely isolated. It belongs to a traditional soul-sibling structure. Think of it as a group of 6, 1 core soul and 5 branch souls. Under normal cosmic conditions, these 6 souls basically take turns reincarnating on Earth to gather experiences and support each other's continuous spiritual growth. It's this beautifully structured cosmic rotation.
But, and this is a big but, the revelations impartially report a severe, massive disruption happening in our modern era. According to the text, an increasing number of souls are failing to ascend after their earthly lives, and they're falling instead into the lower hellish realms. Because of this, that 6-person rotation we just talked about is fundamentally breaking down. When one sibling gets trapped in a lower dimension, the others who remain on Earth or in the heavenly realms get completely cut off. They're left spiritually stranded, missing a vital part of their eternal family. And honestly, this brings all our concepts completely full circle today. Because of the collapse of the traditional soul-sibling system, spiritual marriage becomes an absolute necessity. It's kind of a cosmic backup plan. When isolated souls can no longer reunite with their original core group, they desperately seek out other souls with deeply aligned wavelengths. By forming these new, powerful bonds of spiritual marriage, these affiliated souls ensure they don't have to face eternity alone. It allows them to fiercely continue their journey of survival, growth, and eventual ascension.
It's just such a profound system of cosmic balance, constantly adapting to the spiritual state of humanity. And it leaves us with a pretty intense question. If the afterlife is truly governed, not by physical proximity, but by the exact wavelength of your mind and heart, who is your true spiritual counterpart? It's definitely a lingering thought, one that invites us to look really closely at our own energies, our own wavelengths, and the profound connections we're cultivating right now. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep exploring the unknown.